The primary difference between a church or Christian community where people are experiencing transformation, where they are finding freedom from destructive behaviors that used to control them, where they're becoming more Christ-like in their character and behavior, where they're developing the fruit of the Holy Spirit. The primary difference between that kind of community and a community or a church that might be having a lot of activity and maybe even doing a lot of good things, but where people aren't growing in the same way, is this. The transformational church provides a safe place for people to do hard, scary, and painful things, while the churches that aren't transformational provide a comfortable place to avoid doing hard, scary, and painful things. And in this series, we're going to take a look at what are those hard, scary, and painful things that Jesus expects all of his followers to do, and how can we create a safe environment to help people do those things. And I want to do this with two perspectives in mind. The first is, if you are a Christ follower and you find yourself knocking your head against the same old wall over and over again, and the things that you struggle with now are the same things you struggled with a year ago and 3 years ago and 10 years ago, and you're not experiencing transformation in your life, I want to help you understand why that might be and how you can position yourself for tremendous growth. And the second thing I want to pay attention to is if you are a leader in the church at any level, so maybe you're a pastor or an elder, maybe you lead a specific ministry in the church or a small group in the church, what can you do to create a community in which the people that you're serving are experiencing true transformation in their lives? Hi everybody, I'm Greg from Heart Tools, where we make it simple to build great relationships. And the main metaphor for following Jesus in the New Testament is the metaphor of dying. Jesus said, if anyone wants to follow after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. And that's obviously a reference to a form of execution, being put to death on the cross. He said, anyone who wants to save his life will lose it, but if you lose your life for my sake, you will gain it. Paul said, I've been crucified with Christ, referencing the earlier statement that Jesus made. Following Jesus, becoming more like him, is like death, often hard, scary, and painful. And so in this series, we're going to take a look at what these hard, scary, painful things are that Jesus expects us to do, and why they are essential to spiritual growth and transformation. But here's the key. You won't be able to do any of that hard, scary, painful stuff if you do not have a safe, secure home base. You need relationships where you are deeply known and deeply attached, that are honest and grace-filled. And so that's why I believe that Jesus not only instructed us to do these hard, scary, painful things, he also gave us a new commandment, that we love one another the way he loved us, because we need that kind of environment to do the hard things that Jesus asks us to do. Now, in our next video, we are going to take a detailed look at the connection between having a loving community and experiencing personal growth and transformation. But for this video, let me give you 3 simple steps. The first step is ask yourself, what are the areas that I want to experience transformation? And maybe I've wanted to experience it for a long time and I just haven't. Maybe I have just learned to live with these problems and I really don't want to. And the next 2 questions are for those of you who are in a leadership level at any level in the church. And the first question is embedded in the reality that leaders have to go first, right? Doing hard, scary, painful things is not something you can ask the people you serve to do unless you have done it first and unless you are continuing to do it. So the question I would invite you to reflect on are, what are the hard, scary, painful things that I want to teach others how to do? I really do, but I've been avoiding doing them myself. And the third question is embedded in the reality that the fruit you bear on your tree is the fruit you will bear in your orchard. You cannot produce any results in the area of ministry where you serve if you're not bearing it in your own life. So the question I would invite you to reflect on are, what are the kinds of things I would like to be able to produce where I'm serving, but I'm really not producing it in my own life right now? These 3 simple steps will set you up to engage in the rest of this series in a meaningful way. So 3 simple steps. Where do I want to experience transformation and I'm not experiencing it right now? Where do I need to go first in the hard, scary, painful things? And what kind of fruit do I want to bear in my own life so that I can bear it in the areas where I'm leading and serving? Simple steps, practice, practice, practice. That's what Heart Tools is all about.